Has it occurred to you that Gen Zs are actually one of the loneliest of all the generations? If you're just joining in, welcome again to another video. My name is Tosin. If you're watching this, do subscribe. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. So in this video, I want to share with you why you are lonely. And quite frankly, why we have a lot of mental health challenges. And maybe in subsequent videos, how to fix them. Okay, so I asked Google this question: why are Gen Zs so lonely? Why are we lonely as a generation? And it gave me a number of factors, and some of those factors I want to share here today. One of the major factors that was blamed, and I think a lot of us are akin to, is social media. Social media. So following my research and of course seeing some of the happenings around me, I realized, yes, as a generation, the digital age, though a blessing, has made us very lonely. And the major reason is because we now seem to think that online interactions like this, even though they are beautiful, take the place of physical interactions, of community. And that's not true. That is not true, guys. As beautiful as your online following is, and you know it's actually really beautiful, you make friends on social media, it doesn't really take away the place of meeting physically. So I think social media, though it has made us connect globally, has increased our loneliness, because we're connected globally but we are alone in a sense. So it's like standing in a crowd. You think you're surrounded by a number of people, but you truly don't have anyone for yourself. That's actually the way a number of people feel in this generation. That we have so many friends, and when I say friends, I mean social media, online community, but we don't have any real friends. If this is you, you know, I get you, right? I get you. I have been there. Been there, done that, still processing it. So that's reason number one, right? That's reason number one why we are alone as a generation. We believe the illusion that social media is more important than real life, and it's not true. The second factor, and I'm saying all of this based on research, then I'll go into some of the things that I've seen personally. The second factor is the pandemic. So following the pandemic, a number of workplaces and work cultures started doing things like remote work. And with remote work comes reduced physical interactions. You know, so many people don't like to hear this, but the truth about it is that as a human being, you were not built to live life in isolation. God did not build us, create us to live life alone, right? And we were created for interaction, we were created for community. So following the pandemic, one of the major things that resulted was remote work. And with remote work came a lot of stay-at-home jobs, came a lot of hybrid work, and it reduced physical interactions. So we weren't seeing people as much as before, even though now things are still picking up pace. But we weren't seeing people, so we got used to the lifestyle of doing things alone, doing things by ourselves. And it has really increased social anxiety and depression, because previous generations, what they had was the interactions, friends, you know, they went to the same school, primary school, secondary school, university, went to the same workplace, you know, there was community, they went to church physically, you know, they had fellowships. They were united, they had clubs, associations where they had to meet regularly. They had those social interactions, but we don't, because we have in some way maybe replaced that with remote work. Now those are two major factors for why a lot of Gen Zs are actually lonely globally. But beyond that, I want to bring it home a bit to Nigeria, West Africa. And this doesn't just relate to us, but also a number of places. But one of the major trends that we see, another major factor that I'm beginning to notice, and I'm sure if you think about it, you'll realize as well, is the Japa syndrome. As beautiful as Japa is, you know, in terms of looking for better work opportunities, it has isolated a number of young adults really early. You start off life, you go to uni together, and then all of a sudden you come out of school, you're in your 20s, 21, 22, and you start to realize that all of your friends that you probably grew up with, you no longer live in the same locality. And so one is in another continent, one is in another, maybe one is in this continent, one is in another continent, you are in this continent, and everybody is scattered into different places. And while it's important to pursue career opportunities and while it's important to pursue growth, one major thing that is affected with by this Japa syndrome is our social interactions, our community. We lose significant friendships and struggle, even when for those, especially if you've relocated to a new place, you find it really hard to connect. And it's very tricky because building friendships in adulthood is quite a journey, but don't worry, in this series I'm going to be showing you how. But let's just talk about the whys first so that you can just see factors and reasons why you're going through this, and we'll work later on how to fix that. So Japa syndrome, I for example noticed that I came out of uni and then in a few years I was alone, in quotes, I'm getting to that. But I felt alone because a number of my friends were in different places and I wasn't the only one, even they too, because they had to settle in a new climate, in a new environment. It was quite a struggle getting to settle down, getting to find community again, getting to build friendships again. And it's one major reason why I realized a lot of people in my generation, a lot of Gen Zs feel lonely. Now let's go to the internal factors. We've looked at Japa, we've looked at social media, we've looked at the pandemic, which now resulted in new work cultures. What about personal issues and personal struggles that make us lonely as Gen Zs? It's very funny because, and I'll give you a backstory to this. When some of my friends left the country, I remember feeling quite lonely, feeling like, all my friends have gone, I have to start finding new friends, which is not a bad thing, And while I'm still taking steps to connect with them virtually, I found it really hard, I will not even lie, to connect with people physically, like build new relationships. And one of the reasons I found it really hard was, one, I wasn't willing to start the journey again. So that's one thing. Another major reason, why as Gen Zs we may still be lonely even after pursuing greater opportunities, even after realizing that this and this and these steps that we've taken or these things that we've experienced are the reasons why we don't have as much human interaction as we should. The major reason why is because we're not willing to open up. We're not willing to be vulnerable. As a generation, we are a little calloused, a little hardened. We're open on social media, but with people physically, we're closed off. We don't know how to connect. We don't know how to relate because we are used to keypads. We become keypad warriors that in real life, we don't know how to make meaningful interactions anymore. So that's one major reason. And then you think about it, even in your life, why do you think that you don't have as many friends as you used to? Yes, there is actually the typical winning process of as you grow older, you will lose friends. It's part of life. But if you are someone who is looking into building new relationships, you need to be open. Not being vulnerable is a major reason why you don't have friends and why you are lonely. Another reason is that you are proud. You're proud. You're a it's about you. Your pride is much. You are arrogant. You feel like people don't meet your standards. You've already set your mind fixed on the type of people that you want to be your friends. And you feel that the people around you, who you probably grew up with, don't meet your standards, so they should not be people that you will relate with. Pride. As a Gen Z, you probably started earning serious money early, You know, so you started earning some change early. You know, maybe you now have a new apartment, you own a car, you're living the life, and you have a picture of the lifestyle that you want to live. Now I'm going to put this case in point because there is nothing wrong with desiring connections with certain people because maybe you want to, maybe they are in line with your growth, maybe they are in line with, I mean, putting yourself in new communities and putting yourself in new environments because you want to grow. But at the same time, we must be careful that we do not cancel people because of pride. Pride is one of the major reasons why a lot of us are lonely. We feel like we are better than the rest. That's the truth. We feel that because we are maybe more literate, more intelligent, more stable financially, we feel that we cannot connect with other people in maybe other social classes or other, or even people who are younger or older than us, because we feel like, again, a Gen Z term, we know, we are woke. Pride might be a major reason why you're lonely. Pride might be a major reason why you don't have the friends that you want to have. And it's okay to want to recreate Instagram trends. It's okay to want to have friendship goals, BFF goals, you know, travel, squad goals. But you know, there's a Yoruba saying that says, in essence, it means that whatever, sometimes what you're looking for in far places like Sokoto. Sokoto is a far place in the northern, or let's say far because I don't live in the north, but in the northern area, was something that you may be looking for as far as Sokoto might actually be in your trousers. Sometimes the relationships and the friendships that you are looking for and you're looking up to might actually be around you. We neglect a lot of the times our peers, the people that are around us. And one of the best friendships I've seen to build is the friendships that start when we are still together, when we're still at the same level, when everybody's still trying to figure it out, not when we've made it and we've become and we're now trying to connect. At that time, those friendships are not really friendships. They're more networking because you want to achieve something. Doesn't make any sense. So that's another reason why I think we're lonely as a generation. We're proud. We're a very arrogant generation and we need to watch it. And this is why, you know, as a generation we say things like cancel culture, this person doesn't meet up to my standards. But the true idea of friendships and communities is people who grow with you, who, you know, understand your excesses and are willing to do life with you. Because again, remember that it is friendships that translate into relationships and marriage. So this thing is actually, it actually has a domino effect, and you want to be very mindful of it. Okay? So don't be proud, don't be too proud. Sometimes calm down for Jesus and relate with the people around you. You'd be surprised, you'd actually be amazed to find out that you have really, really good people around you. Another reason why we are lonely as Gen Zs is because a lot of us are still battling with childhood traumas. Yeah, you didn't think I would go there, but I went there. A lot of us haven't healed from a lot of hurts, from a lot of childhood trauma. Pretty much a lot of us are still carrying hurts, are still carrying pains. And you know, there's this saying that says, broken people break people, or hurt people hurt people. That is, when you are struggling, a lot of the times you deflect or transfer that aggression, that anger, that pain, that hurt to other people. And so we act in certain ways, we speak in certain ways that are not really our true feelings, but are just a reflection of our past traumas and our hurts. So one major reason why a lot of Gen Zs are still struggling to make meaningful connections is because a lot of us are dealing with some significant hurts. Actually, quite frankly, every human being has some hurt or the other, some childhood trauma or the other. But a lot of us haven't healed from that, and we're just going through life, going through the motions without sitting down to reflect, without sitting down to forgive if necessary, very important, without sitting down to heal, and this thing tells in your relationship. So what am I saying? I'm saying that sometimes the hurt and the pain that you have experienced as a young adult sometimes hinders you from making new connections. Another reason also, a lot of us as Gen Zs have not discovered self. You know, the Bible does say, love your neighbor as yourself. It is to the extent that you know yourself, to the extent that you are true to yourself, to the extent that you love yourself, that you will be able to love others also. And I have realized that this is one major reason why I personally have struggled with relationships, with friendships especially, because I, in a number of cases, haven't found myself. A lot of us are still finding ourselves as young adults. So it's very tricky because sometimes we make friendships with certain people as a result of the level that we are mentally. As we grow, that friendship, our friendship mindsets also change, and we now start to desire deeper connections, deeper friendships that truly align with our goals. And while some take this to the extreme, as I've said earlier, and start to look for ideal friends, forgetting that human beings are not perfect, right? Others actually just close off and don't reach out at all, and it's really painful to see. And this is one of the reasons why we're lonely as young adults. Truth is, we're actually a very selfish generation. Yeah, we're a little entitled. We want to reap in places where we haven't sown. We want to reap from relationships we haven't invested in. And it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So guys, those are my reasons. Those are a few of the reasons that I have found that make us as a generation lonely. There's so many other reasons, right guys? And you know, if you have any comments, please drop in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. In the month of April, we're going to be talking about relationships, friendships, how to build meaningful connections in your adulthood, how to build community, how to find your guys, your tribe, your squad, you know, a number of relationships that we're going to be touching. So stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.